So up next, we have another keynote that delves into the exciting world of Web3, and we are honored to welcome Mr. Alex Witt, General Manager at Verda Ventures. Alex will discuss how Africa represents a significant market for Web3 adoption. So now let's put our hands together to welcome Alex for his sharing.
Thank you. And firstly, I would just like to extend a huge thanks to Cyberport for hosting us all and bringing us all together. I think when you have entrepreneurs, investors, and government aligned, it's easier to create a better future together. So here today to talk about something that I haven't heard discussed at all today, but really should be on top of everybody's mind here, and that's the opportunity in Africa. So look to your left, look to your right. In 20 years, 1 out of every 3 young people is going to be African. Right now, the population is about 1.5 billion people, so it's already greater than China or India in terms of population size. But fast forward 20 years, it's going to be even bigger because a third of people under the age of 30 will be in Africa. And everybody in this room should really be caring because China is already Africa's largest trading partner. And it's also the place of some of the fastest technological adoption in the world by far, leapfrog adoption. So whether it's satellite internet or mobile phones, you're seeing incredible fast pace of adoption. And that is an incredible opportunity for entrepreneurs because you ultimately want to look for and seek out fast adoption for the technologies that we're building and contributing to. I want to, if they allow me a little bit later, I'd love to ask or let a couple questions be asked at the end to kind of increase the engagement with the audience. So start thinking about a question or two. If not, I might call on you. So despite this incredible market opportunity, and despite the significant adoption curve, there are huge frictions that remain, especially in the financial system. So Africa, for those of you who don't know, has 54 countries. Each of those countries really has a lot of frictions to go from A to B. And even now, about 10% of sort of remittance volume is transaction fees. And so it's really prohibitively expensive for a lot of Africans to transact. And that has basically excluded Africa from most of the Web 2 economy, most of the world, and completely unnecessarily. And so another sort of interesting fact is that there's a $500 per month limit for USD withdrawals in Nigeria for hard currency. And so you can imagine that if you're trying to run a business, this is a prohibitively high level of frictions. And Nigeria, being one of the 54 countries in Africa, has a population over 200 million people, which would put it just behind the United States and Indonesia in terms of the market size. So what is the current situation? How did we get here? So the current sort of cross-border payment system revolves around a correspondent banking model. And for everybody in this room who lives in Hong Kong is really in the top 1% in terms of benefiting from how the system works, because the main banks mostly have a presence in Hong Kong. But for people in Africa, there are several additional intermediaries in between called correspondent banks, which dramatically increase the friction, the cost of those transactions, and the expense. And so a lot of settlement times can take 2 to 5 days, and the average fees can be upwards of 10% for a small $200 payment. So if you're a business whose profit margin is 5%, and you have a transaction fee that's 10%, you're out of business, right? So this massive continent has been effectively systematically excluded from the broader economy. And so we have this huge opportunity with Web3 to enable basically instant sub 1 penny transactions. So really, it's only in the last 1 to 2 years that this sort of the primitives have been in place for us to enable this sort of frictionless payment system. And so now that we have, mobile phones everywhere, we have scalable blockchain technology. For the first time, you can send money anywhere in the world for a fraction of a penny with 1 second settlement time, just knowing your friend's or contact's phone number. Let me say that one more time, because it's very important to sink in. You can now, for the first time, send money to anyone in the world for a fraction of a penny, just knowing their phone number. And that is an extremely powerful unlock by leveraging stablecoins and mobile wallets. So basically, we, with Opera, which is a NASDAQ-listed company, sort of incubated this mobile wallet infrastructure. And you can now basically access stable coins from within that mobile wallet. And you can, without even needing to know what a blockchain is, get paid or transfer money, and also interact with the local banking infrastructure in that country. So I just came back from Kenya three weeks ago, and the mobile wallet basically seamlessly interacts with M-Pesa, which is kind of like a little bit like a WeChat Pay for Kenya. But you can, in effect, basically save in stable coins, spend using the local payment infrastructure. This is a massive market opportunity. Almost 400 million Africans are basically unbanked, and even more are underbanked and have no access to any sort of cross-border financing opportunity. So the total market size here is easily, in excess of $1 trillion across several growing verticals. So this is a little bit more about kind of the unique solution that we have taken. And again, we're partnering with Opera, NASDAQ-listed company, over 300 million monthly active users that we are systematically rolling out to. And you can actually access the mobile wallet from within the browser. After Chrome, Opera is the most popular browser in many parts of Africa, some parts of Southeast Asia and Latin America. So, from within your normal browsing experience, you can have access to a Web3 native wallet. So just to kind of break down how we enabled this sort of transformative end user experience, we have used, it's helpful to think of it as like a stack. So at the bottom of the stack, you have Celo, which is a layer 2 on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And Celo basically enables a number of very important primitives that are a completely new unlock for payments in general. So basically, the first of which is it maps public key addresses to phone numbers. So instead of somebody needing to know what public-private key cryptography is, they just need to know a phone number, which is an important primitive for creating access. It's kind of like a PayPal moment where you now just need to interact normally without understanding the underlying technology. The second component to it is being able to pay gas fees in stablecoins. So instead of needing to understand, what is the difference between a gas fee and the currency that I'm sending, you don't need to understand any of that. That complexity is completely abstracted away, and you can send funds for a fraction of a penny just knowing the phone number instead of needing to pay a transaction fee in a separate currency. And now, we've basically created the sort of settlement layer and the distribution channel, and now our fund, the MiniPay fund, is investing in the application layer. And we're actively looking for projects from this region to expand their business into Africa. Next year, we'll also be expanding with Opera into Southeast Asia as well. So we're investing across several verticals to build out this broader ecosystem, and that includes savings, remittances, borrowing, or micro-lending as some call it. But we're also looking at other verticals too in kind of creating this Web3 native WeChat Pay type experience. And so we're also looking more broadly at gaming and other applications that we can plug into this fast-growing distribution channel. MiniPay is now the single largest source of stablecoin daily active user activity globally, and this is all on-chain activity that you can reference anywhere, anytime. So we have like more USDC, USDT transactions happening for daily purchases of groceries, payment of friends, and remittances than any like any other blockchain. So we've kind of there's this huge market opportunity. People see it, but then most have failed so far in adapting and expanding in Africa. And so we've taken what we think is the right approach to scaling the adoption and capturing the market opportunity. We call it the adoption trifecta, and that's basically combining infrastructure, distribution, and venture expertise together to create, at the end, a very seamless user experience. So, as I mentioned in the context of China with WeChat Pay, obviously you only have one country, so it's much easier to kind of expand that network and can use a centralized model. But in the context of Africa and more broadly for cross-border remittances, you're dealing with many dozens of countries. So in that context, the blockchain technology provides a consensus mechanism that allows people to agree on how value is transferred. So breaking down this adoption trifecta, you have the base layer, the infrastructure, which basically provides that payment settlement layer. And then you have the MiniPay application incubated with Opera that provides the distribution. And on top of that, you have the applications that we're now investing in with Verda Ventures. And we think that we haven't seen success in the continent so far, largely because they're only bringing one of these components to the table, whereas our view is that to reach market scale across multiple countries, you really need to be able to abstract away the technical complexities for adoption to happen, and you need to be able to have significant distribution reach. Great technology without distribution is useless to people. And of course, you still need significant capital to connect those dots, and not only to fund operations, but also to connect the last mile infrastructure, for example, in all of these different markets together, and connect the different industry segments so that you can create a robust ecosystem on top of that base payment layer. So I would love to also engage and learn from you guys. So I've purposefully left, 4 minutes. And if I'm allowed, I would love to answer any questions to engage people.
So how convenient is this for the users? Because how do this interact with the existing systems?
Yeah. So let me give you an example. So I was in Kenya 3 weeks ago, and the whole time I just used MiniPay to pay for everything, in the airport to fruit on the street, and basically, you especially as somebody from any other country going into the country, you just have your stable coins which you can cash into with your bank or with M-Pesa, or with a transfer. And then in the context of Kenya, you have last mile infrastructure with Pritium. And so what Pritium does on the back end is basically converts your stable coins into local currency on the local payment rails. And in Kenya, the local payment rail is M-Pesa. So basically, I held stables, or you could say saved in stables. And then when I went to the merchant, just as if I was paying with M-Pesa, so like the same user experience as if you were paying for something in mainland China with WeChat Pay, that same user experience, I was able to pay with, from the merchant's perspective, they got paid just like they would if it was a direct M-Pesa payment, but on the back end, it basically converted from the stable coins into local currency. So you could save in stables, spend in local currency. So we have people like spending 50 cents to buy an apple on a random street in Nairobi, Kenya. That's the level of easy that it is. I think we've got 2.5 minutes left if there's another question.
Yeah, just a question. So how do the African countries, the people adopt the cryptocurrency? Because for right now, cryptocurrency is mainly still an investment tools more than a real currency to use. And the problem with cryptocurrency is the fluctuation of price is very high. So sometimes like the price can range, the fluctuation can range from like 30 to like even double or triple in prices. So it's very hard for people to adopt, like maybe to use Bitcoin or Ethereum to buy a car or house, because it's just
so nobody's using Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're only using stable coins.
I know. So I mean, so right. So I just wanna. So people, they just use stable coins.
That's
to.
it.
That's
when you're using the app, nobody, like most of the users have never heard of Bitcoin, have never heard of Ethereum.
Okay.
They just use stable coins. So in Kenya, it tracks that you have a SIM. Yeah. So basically, when you register your wallet, you enter your phone number. It knows that you have a Kenyan SIM, and then you have access to a Kenyan stablecoin and a dollar stablecoin.
All right. So the stablecoin is just acts as like an international currency among the African countries for easier remittance or stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks very much.
I think we have time for one last question.
In terms of speed, how efficient is that? And
Less
also,
than
how
1
about the
second.
transaction cost?
Less than 1 second, instant, one block finality, instant settlement. So like, less than 1 second. It's on Android now. You can find it on the Google Play Store called MiniPay. You can literally, it syncs with your contacts, and you just put in your contact's phone number, syncs immediately, and it's less than 1 penny to transfer. So yeah, again, money, cross-border, just knowing your friend's phone number, 1 second settlement, less than 1 second settlement, and for a fraction of 1 cent, $1 US cent. Thank you guys. I think I'm at time.